My son loves astronomy. We got him a telescope. He set it up every night. Quiet. Focused. One day, the neighbor accused him of spying. I tried to explain, it's pointed at the sky. Not her house. 2 days later, the telescope was smashed. Shards everywhere. My son cried. I posted about it online. Thought that was it. But then I got a DM. Check her trash. I did. In one of the bags was the lens. Still warm from her garage heater. But the message? It was from her niece. We moved to a small neighborhood just outside Fort Collins, Colorado, 3 years ago. My wife, Jenna, and I wanted someplace quiet. We thought this street would be good for raising our son, Lucas. Lucas is 10. He doesn't play video games all day. He doesn't scream or break things. He loves space. I mean, really loves space. He talks about planets and galaxies like most kids talk about dinosaurs or football. For Christmas, we gave him a telescope. A real one. I picked up extra shifts at work to afford it. We kept it hidden in the garage until the morning he opened it. He just stared at the box for a full minute, like he couldn't believe it was his. He was outside with it that same night. It was cold, but he didn't care. He rolled it out to the patio, aimed it at the sky, and just stood there for hours. Didn't say much. Didn't even complain about the cold. That became his routine. Every night after dinner, he'd take the telescope outside and look at the stars. Sometimes I sat with him. Sometimes he was out there alone. But he never once looked at a neighbor's house. Never even glanced that way. He was always looking up. Our neighbor, Melissa, lives 2 houses down. She's around 55. Alone. Keeps to herself, except when she's complaining. We tried to be polite when we moved in. That didn't last long. She complained the day I put up holiday lights because they were too bright. She once yelled at my wife for using a leaf blower on a Sunday afternoon. But I figured she was just grumpy. Not dangerous. One night around 9:30, Melissa came over, banging on our back gate like it was an emergency. Lucas jumped. I went out and met her at the gate. She crossed her arms. He's been watching me. Excuse me? Your son. With that telescope. It's pointed at my bedroom window. I looked back at Lucas. His telescope was aimed straight up, like always. He's not watching anyone, I said. He's looking at planets. That's all. I saw where it was pointed, she said, voice rising. If he does it again, I'll call the cops. I stared at her. He's 10. She spun around and stormed off without another word. 2 days later, Lucas went outside like always. I heard the patio door slide open. Then silence. I figured he was just adjusting the scope, but after a minute I felt something wasn't right. I stepped outside. He was on his knees. The tripod was still there. The telescope itself, gone. No, not gone. Destroyed. There were chunks of it on the concrete. The tube was bent. The lens was shattered, glass spread everywhere. One side of the patio had burn marks like someone tried to melt it. Lucas wasn't crying loud. He just sat down, looked at the pieces, and wiped his eyes. My chest hurt watching him. I checked the cameras, but of course the one pointing at the backyard hadn't been working for 2 weeks. I'd meant to fix it. Didn't get around to it. That night, I posted in the neighborhood Facebook group. I didn't mention Melissa. I didn't accuse anyone. I just said someone came into our yard and wrecked our son's telescope. I posted pictures of the mess. I said whoever did it had broken a kid's heart. I got a lot of support. People offered money for a new one. A few neighbors stopped by the next day. Melissa didn't say a word. Then, 2 days later, I got a private message from someone named Courtney R. Check her trash, it said. She put it out early. 1 bag should still be warm. I sat there staring at the message for a full minute. I replied, "Who is this?" No answer. So I walked around back to the alley. Melissa's trash bins were lined up like always. I opened the lid of the big one. The top bag was warm. I pulled it open. Inside was a pile of glass. Metal parts. Twisted pieces. Melted plastic. I found what was left of the lens, split in half but still recognizable. One piece had a sticker I remembered sticking on with Lucas, a tiny Saturn with a smiley face. There was also a burned rag. It smelled like lighter fluid. I took pictures. Put the lens in a sealed bag. Walked home shaking. That night, another message from Courtney. I'm her niece. I'm staying with her. I saw her take it. She went into your yard around midnight. She had gloves and a crowbar. Said she was sick of your creep kid watching her. She used a lighter to melt part of the lens. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. She's not stable. The message continued. She says stuff about people all the time. Calls your son a future peeper. I hate being here. I told my wife everything. Jenna went dead quiet. No yelling. No crying. Just quiet, like she was processing something deep. I called the police. Filed the report. Gave them the photos, the messages, the bagged lens. They said without security footage or a direct witness willing to speak publicly, it would be hard to press charges. Courtney wouldn't go on record. She said she was scared of Melissa. That her aunt had a temper and had once locked her out of the house during a snowstorm because she left a light on. So the cops did nothing. That's when I stopped trying to be fair. I started digging. I learned Melissa works from home, runs a private online bookkeeping business. She has no business license registered in the county. Her property taxes were overdue. Her internet was in her deceased father's name. She also posted daily on a local Nextdoor group, giving out unsolicited advice to other women about protecting yourself from creeps and how to watch your neighbors for signs of trouble. I started gathering screenshots. All of them. And then I made an anonymous burner account. I posted the full story. I included pictures of the destroyed telescope, side by side with pictures of the same pieces found in Melissa's trash. I blurred Lucas's face but left nothing else out. I quoted parts of Courtney's messages too. I said someone staying in Melissa's house had witnessed it all. It blew up. Moms in the neighborhood were furious. Dads too. One woman commented. She called my kid creepy for playing with a drone in the yard. Another posted. She reported me for putting up Halloween decorations. Said they were satanic. Turns out Melissa had enemies. Real ones. But I wasn't done. I started hearing things. Not rumors, real things. People talking at the coffee shop. A guy at the grocery store looking over at Melissa and muttering. That's the one who smashed the kid's telescope. The local librarian, who barely spoke to anyone before, handed me a folded note one day when I came in with Lucas. It said, "You're not alone." But the strange part was, Melissa didn't seem to care. For a while. She kept walking her yappy dogs past our house every morning. Kept parking her old silver Subaru just a little too close to our driveway. Kept glaring at Lucas when he was outside drawing constellations on the patio with chalk. Then things shifted. A week after I made the anonymous post, her niece Courtney disappeared. Not like missing disappeared, but suddenly gone. Her car was gone. No lights in her room anymore. Melissa put her trash out 3 days late. I messaged the account that had reached out to me, but it had been deleted. Then a new message came. Different name. Different profile. I had to leave. She read my texts. It was Courtney. Same writing style. Same tone. She went through my phone. Screamed at me for an hour. Said I betrayed family. I'm staying with my mom now. Sorry I can't help more. I asked her one thing. Did she hurt you? She didn't answer for 2 days. Then she replied. Not yet. I told Jenna. She wanted to go to the police again. I did too. But we both knew how this worked. No footage. No arrest. Just words. So I changed course. I started contacting people I knew in the local business registry. I used to do IT work. Still have friends. I asked about Melissa's bookkeeping business. Turns out she'd filed 0 tax returns for it. She'd accepted money through Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, all personal. Not once declared. I sent an anonymous tip to the IRS. That was just the start. Through an old friend in code enforcement, I reported her for running an unlicensed business from a residential home. She had a sign in her window offering accounting help, by appointment only. Against code. Then I found out she hadn't had her dogs registered with the county in 3 years. Another tip sent. And finally, the worst one, I went back into the Facebook group where she loved to post. Using my burner, I shared screenshots of her previous rants. Her calling kids creeps. Saying certain neighbors looked suspicious. I highlighted her false accusations. I included quotes from Courtney, still anonymous. And I posted it all under the title. This woman smashed a kid's telescope because she thought he was watching her. He was looking at the sky. Hundreds of comments. Dozens of shares. People were outraged. The next day, Melissa's house was egged. The day after that, someone spray painted. Leave him alone. On her garage door. I didn't do either of those things. But I wasn't crying over it. And Lucas? He got a new telescope. 5 neighbors chipped in. Better one than before. Bigger lens. More stable mount. He set it up the night we got it. Quiet. Focused. But this time, I sat out with him the whole night. Melissa hasn't looked at us since. 2 weeks later, we thought it was finally over. Lucas was back into his stargazing routine. People in the neighborhood waved at us more. A few even stopped by to ask if Lucas could show their kids how to use a telescope. Then, on a Thursday morning, around 6:15 a.m., I stepped outside to warm up the car for work. There was a note stuck to our front door. Not taped. Nailed. The paper was thick. Not notebook paper, stationery. In neat handwriting it said, "You think you've won? I see everything." No signature. Just that. I scanned the street. Nothing. No one. I didn't show Lucas. I didn't even wake Jenna. I took the note, scanned it at work, and saved the original. I reported it to the police again. Same officer. He looked tired of seeing me. "We'll make a note of it," he said. No more. But something in me snapped. This wasn't just about the telescope anymore. It wasn't even just about Lucas. It was about control. Melissa wanted to scare us back into silence. Into submission. So I did what I hadn't done before. I looked into her past. Public records, court databases, anything I could get without needing a subpoena. I found something odd. In 2014, a restraining order, filed against Melissa by a former neighbor in Albuquerque. A woman named Lila H., 2 years younger than Melissa. I kept digging. Found the court records. Not sealed. The report said Melissa had accused Lila's teenage son of monitoring her, with a drone. The boy didn't even own one. She'd vandalized their mailbox, slashed a tire, and left a note threatening legal consequences. Same pattern. Lila had moved away 6 months later. So I found her on Facebook. I messaged her. Explained who I was. Told her what had happened. 2 days later she called me. Voice shaky. Said she never talked about it because no one believed her. Melissa gets fixated. She told me. It's not just about feeling watched. It's about punishing people who don't follow her made-up rules. She gave me permission to share her story. I posted it in the group. Screenshots of the restraining order. Her written permission. I didn't include her full name, just initials. Then I posted this. It wasn't just us. Melissa's done this before. We're not the first family. But we can be the last. That's when the shift became permanent. Neighbors stopped speaking to her. The HOA called a special meeting. A motion was raised. Melissa had violated multiple terms. Noise complaints, threats, unlicensed activity. By the end of the week, she was officially fined. Several $1,000s. But the real punishment was what came next. Someone, no idea who, started a petition to have Melissa removed from the neighborhood entirely. The HOA couldn't force her out, but they could apply pressure. Every day, people honked as they drove past her house. She stopped walking the dogs. Her trash bin stayed inside the garage for days. Then one morning, I saw a "for sale" sign in her yard. Melissa was leaving. Or at least, that's what we thought. About a week after the "for sale" sign went up, we started breathing easier. Lucas was happy again. No more watching over our shoulders. No more notes or stares or whispered warnings from neighbors. But then the fire happened. It was a Saturday night. Around 11:45. Lucas was asleep. Jenna and I were in bed, just drifting off, when we heard it, the sound of glass shattering. Then the alarm. Smoke alarm. I shot up, heart pounding, ran toward the living room. There was fire outside, on the patio. Something had been thrown through the sliding glass door. A bottle. There was glass and flames licking at the curtains. Jenna grabbed Lucas. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and sprayed everything I could. Then the garden hose. The neighbors were already calling 911. By the time the fire department arrived, the patio was scorched, but the house was still standing. They said we were lucky. If we'd been asleep another 5 minutes, we wouldn't have been able to stop it. But luck wasn't what saved us. It was the security camera. Remember the one I said hadn't worked before? I fixed it. Upgraded it. Had it cloud syncing and motion detecting. This time, it got everything. Melissa. She had crept into our yard again. Dressed in black. Hoodie pulled low. She lit a bottle, threw it at the house, then ran. Police came the next morning. I showed them the footage. Gave them the old messages. The photos. The bagged lens. Everything. They arrested her that afternoon. The charge? Arson. Attempted destruction of property. Reckless endangerment of a minor. Trespassing. And thanks to the prior history I found in Albuquerque, And Courtney's testimony, yes, she finally agreed to speak up, it stuck. Melissa was denied bail. They said she posed a clear risk to community safety. Courtney later told me Melissa snapped the day I posted the old restraining order. She tore the computer from the wall, threw it across the kitchen, and screamed that she'd teach them all a lesson. Courtney packed a bag and left that night. It didn't end there. The court case made the local paper. The headline read, "Woman accused of arson in ongoing feud over child's telescope." People called me brave. Said I fought for my son. Said I brought a bully down. But I don't feel proud. Because I made a mistake too. When I started digging into her life, I didn't care about how far I went. I wanted her punished. I was consumed by it. I stirred the pot. Pushed every button I could find. And in doing that, I escalated her rage. I brought it right back to our door. I put my son in danger. That's the part ones still struggle with. Melissa's in prison now. She took a plea deal, 10 years. No parole before 6. She'll be gone a long time. Courtney lives in Denver now. We stay in touch. She sends postcards for Lucas. Space-themed ones. He keeps them taped to the wall above his desk. And Lucas? He still loves the stars. Still sets up his telescope. But now he checks the locks first. Every single night. So do I.